Obviously, this is a very difficult day for everyone in public safety. At about 9 o'clock last evening, the Stearns County Sheriff's Office received calls of concern from the family of Ryan Larson that he was potentially suicidal. A short time later, Cold Spring officers responded to Mr. Larson's residence and failed to make contact with him at that time. Although the officers did return approximately an hour and 45 minutes later, still attempting to make contact with the individual, and when the officers pulled up, Officer Decker left his squad car and a very short time later was confronted by an armed individual, shot twice, and died.
First, on behalf of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, we'd like to offer our heartfelt condolences to the Cold Spring Police Department and the Cold Spring community for the loss of Officer Decker, who served this community and who is a resident of the community. I'll briefly update you just on the current status of the investigation. Shortly after Officer Decker was killed, the area was surrounded by police that responded to the area. A CERT team from the Stearns County Sheriff's Office was eventually able to take into custody the subject of the welfare check. After that occurred, he was interviewed by Stearns County deputies, and some of that investigation is still ongoing. Members of the BCA crime scene team have processed the crime scene. That's still in process right now, gathering evidence related to this investigation. We have agents and deputies from the Stearns County Sheriff's Office, along with other police personnel in the area, conducting follow-up investigation and interviews around the entire state of Minnesota at this time. As we've noted, this is an active and ongoing investigation. We'll continue to follow up to determine exactly what happened in this incident. And as we noted, Ryan Larson was taken into custody and was booked into the Stearns County Jail in connection with this incident. I'm going to turn this over to the chief, who will provide some background on Officer Decker, and then we'll take a few questions related to this incident.
It's a privilege for me to talk about Officer Tom Decker. He was a chief's dream. Not only did I have no problems with him, but he was the type of officer who accumulated 6 letters of appreciation and accommodations within his short 6.5 years with us. We lost an officer. Community lost a citizen. Tom Decker was an active citizen, an active member of the community. He grew up on a farm just south of town with his parents, who still reside there, and attended Ricori schools. He's a hometown boy. Went off to Alexandria Technical College, where he was trained in law enforcement, and worked 3 more years as a police officer, and eventually ended up finding what he called his dream job here with us at the Cold Spring Richmond Police Department. Tommy was also married and had 4 children, all very young in age. We're going to miss him. The community and all of law enforcement will miss Tom Decker. Thank you.
At this time, we can open up to a few questions related to this incident.
Was Officer Decker familiar with the suspect? Did you know him?
I don't believe so.
Seems like it's a pretty extensive crime scene. We saw some people kind of walking out near the river. Any information that you can give us regarding that?
Again, that's part of the active and ongoing investigation. All I'll say is that it's an active crime scene and that we're looking for and gathering evidence related to this crime right now.
Is there any reason to believe there might be some other individual involved?
Again, we don't have any information to believe that at this time, but it's in early stages of the investigation. We'll continue to follow up on all leads.
Do we know if Officer Decker ever removed his firearm from his holster?
That's part of the active investigation. We can't discuss that at this time.
Did you recover a weapon from the suspect that you believe was used in this?
Again, that's part of the active investigation, and we just can't comment on that at this time.
Where was Larson when you shot at? Was he in his apartment, was he down in the alley?
Again, that's part of the active crime scene, and we can't discuss the details of the active crime scene at this time.
I asked about Officer Decker, was anybody in the police department familiar and had dealings with Mr. Larson in this case?
Yes, I found one of my officers that was familiar with this individual. However, he didn't seem to have a lot of background either. So we are basically looking into how long he's even lived in this location. We don't believe that he has occupied that apartment for very long.
You had mentioned that he was possibly suicidal, that was the family's concern. Any idea what was going on in his life or anything like that? Had something triggered him last night to be notably upset?
Again, it's far too early in the investigation to make a comment in reference to that.
Anybody else injured or any other outstanding people involved?
No.
Is he related at all to Eric Decker, plays in the NFL for the Broncos, went to Corey?
I suspect so.
You're saying there are a lot of Deckers around here?
There's a lot of Deckers around here. But someone brought that up earlier, and I said, I'm not positive. Track down Eric, he can probably let you know. Bring the Bronco.
Can you tell us where Officer Decker was hit with these 2 shots?
We're not prepared to comment on that at this time. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office will be performing an autopsy and will be able to provide additional information once that's completed.
Was he wearing a bulletproof vest? Was he wearing a protective vest?
Yes.
Any idea how much longer the scene's gonna sort of, you guys are gonna be there and what it's gonna take to kind of get all the pieces together?
We'll hold the scene until our investigation is complete, and I just can't comment on the length of time that will take.
Can you talk about the size of this police department and what kind of a loss Officer Decker is related to the size?
On a small department like ours, we serve multiple jurisdictions. The city of Cold Spring, the city of Richmond, and the surrounding Wakefield Township. So we've got a jurisdiction roughly 37 square miles and about 9,500 citizens. We've got 8 full-time and 8 part-time. And there's a lot of demands with only 8 full-time officers placed on each officer. So Officer Decker was our use of force instructor, firearms instructor. He was our department jokester. He had a great sense of humor. Everyone who met him liked it.
We have time for just one more question.
You may have mentioned this, and I apologize, was he alone, or did he have a partner with him when he arrived on scene there?
He was with a partner when he was shot, and what I can say about this is from our preliminary investigation, it's apparent to us that the officer was ambushed at the scene.
Was his partner, did he remain in the car, or did he ever get out, and was he ever shot at?
Again, that's part of the active investigation, but he was on scene at the time of the shooting and was certainly present when it occurred.
Can you talk a little bit about, was there a lockdown at the bar and the restaurants and the town and just kind of the process that went through that, all of that as this was happening?
Really, I mean, we're getting into an area now that we it wouldn't be prudent for us to comment any further on this. We've answered the questions that we can at this particular time. When we get to a point in the investigation that we can give you good updates, we certainly will. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.